Towards your feelings right now?
Look, it's a massive win for us. I think the league was very topsy-turvy. Last week we didn't even know if we'd be in a league final. It was a bonus to get to a league final, and then we said we'd have a right go at it. We felt we had a good chance. I think that we hung in there very well towards the end, particularly when Dublin came back at us again, and it was a satisfying win in the end. Look, we're not going to get carried away. It's still only a league final in relation to the championship and all that, but it's a boost, and we're really happy with the performance. Yeah.
But you're finding it difficult to beat Dublin over the last number of seasons. This is significant.
Yeah, I suppose we have, but I mean, every game has its own, it's taken its own merits, but possibly there was maybe a bit more of a hang up on that in the media. I think particularly at half time we felt we were in a very good position. We had been for a number of years as well in other games, so we felt that the last 10 minutes in particular we wanted to be able to drive on with the game.
Well done to Kerry, well done to Fitzgerald. In a week in which Colm Gooch Cooper, Fionnuala's clubmate and county mate, retired, Kerry are the league champions.
Planige Kerry, Nirha, Stanny Urtistach, Ardvo de Kerry, agus Gavin, a Jennifer Hardistach, Shit Kerry, Corena Saha, Nida Fehkasud, Hena Shediuk, Ege Arclea.
Agus is leach na himmerthe do chuid Allianz TG Car and Shotra Nona Farmore Lord Park Kerry, David Moran. David, what an unbelievable game. Can you put into words the 70 minutes we just had out there?
No, it's hard to put words now, but no, look, we're delighted. In fairness to Dublin, they've been an unbelievable team. You know, we knew they weren't going to come up here and relinquish their crown easy, you know, so we were going to give it a lash, and thankfully we got over the line.
And when Dean Rock stood over that free 45 metres out with seconds remaining, what was going through your mind?
I was thinking of him kicking 9 points in Tralee. No, he's a fantastic kicker, but it was a long way out, and look, so that's the way it goes. Sometimes they go over, sometimes they don't.
And finally, after 2 years, this Dublin team that hadn't lost a game in between times, their winning run, or their unbeaten run, has come to an end. Kerry were the last team to beat them. You must have been waiting for this moment and saying it has to end, and let's make sure it's Kerry do it.
Absolutely. Look, they're a fantastic team. They've shown over the last few years. They have a lot of steel. They have a lot of great players. You know, and we wanted to come up and show that we were as good as them. And look, we got over late. But look, at the end of the day, it's April. You know, there's a long way to go. There's still the reigning All-Ireland champions. You know, so that's our aim.
Okay, fantastic game, and you've David Moore in the shall leach the himmerha agus har cean Allianz tá Fiona O'Gorman and shall gradam leach the himmerha of runna air.
Yeah, disappointed, but you know, all credit to Kerry. They played a fantastic game right to the very end. Yeah, we just had a lot of unforced errors, kicked a lot of ball away and passed it away. But I could only but praise the Dublin players yet again. Showed great resilience to stick with the game to the bitter end. 5 down against Kerry in a final. You don't always get back in. We're the width of a post by forcing into extra time, but you know, Kerry were well deserved for the victory.
Yeah, we're delighted to have won the league title, Marty, but at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's a league title. You know, straight away, I suppose, this evening our thoughts will be turning towards championship, but fantastic, positive way for us to finish the league, definitely.
Always competitive between these two, and the crowd of some 54,000, well, they saw more of the same today, with drama, of course, right to the finish. Great game of football to watch, Tomas, and I'm sure it was very enjoyable down in the Kingdom.
Yeah, Michael, I suppose we've come up to Dublin the last few times and they've beaten us well. I think it was a huge display today. I think the management will be delighted. I think they got their tactics right today. I think they played with abandonment. They attacked Dublin. I think there was some key performances all over the field. I think Eamon is right. It is only April. Nobody's going to remember who wins the league after the championship.
But was it more important for Kerry today to win that than
I think it was a big thing,
Dublin
yeah.
in the
There's a lot of young players, Michael,
yeah,
that haven't beaten Dublin. I think it was important to get a win over them. I think it'll serve them well going into championship. And I think, you know, when you look at Dublin, their 20 minutes at the end are vital for Dublin, and I think Kerry stayed with them today. Sure. Yes, there were 5 points up going into that last 20 minutes. Dublin did rattle off 1-6 in that last 20 minutes, but the important thing is that Kerry rattled 6 points in that last 20 minutes as well, and that's what won them, you know, the match really, and it was a huge victory for them, and brilliant performances all over.
Kieran, what's the perspective from Dublin's point of view? And this thing, of course, the unbeaten run, at least we can park that now.
Park it. Listen, I don't think Dublin can have any complaints tonight. I think they were beaten by the better team. Yes, there was a width in the post that could have got them back into it, about. But I think Kerry were definitely the superior team today. They had that bit more hunger. They played with bravery. They pushed up on Dublin. They won their key battles. They won all the key battles. Dublin have been patchy throughout the league, Michael, you know, and it's coming from last year's All-Ireland final where they went periods without getting scores. They went 18 minutes today in the second half without getting a score. Their form hasn't been exactly where they'd like it to be. They're not penetrating defences as much as they have done in the past. So in some ways the result isn't really a surprise. I think psychologically for Kerry it's huge. You know, to the last 13 meetings, you know, Kerry have only won 2 league games, and I think that was in February, March. So it's a huge psychological result for them. People would say tonight, it's not too bad for Dublin. But when you have a foot on a team like Kerry, it's important that you keep it there. The pendulum can swing very easily. So I think that would be the disappointing thing, that they've given Kerry a little bit of inner belief coming into the summer. Dublin will regroup. They know it wasn't their best performance today, and it's Jim Gavinow's decision. You know, does he stick or twist for the championship? Does he re-energise his forward line, make a few changes? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens over the next couple of months.
Because the thing about it is, Joe, we talked about this in the programme over the weeks, if you like. You know, everybody talks about this Dublin run, the unbeaten run, etc., so forth. But they've had three draws in their campaign, and of course a defeat today. So are they as fantastic as everybody thought, or as Kieran said, there's work to be done?
Well, I understand that they haven't ratcheted up their training yet. You know, they felt that they went too soon last year, and I suppose they've got the luxury of doing this. But I've always wanted to say this to O'Shea ever since Dara said to me once, "Derry have a great team in the league." Kerry, you have a great team in the league, Tomas. I've never seen a league win being celebrated with such ardour. It is right, though, that it was extremely important for Kerry to win that today. And the most impressive feature of it was, and a lesson to all teams, was that Kerry committed themselves to the attack. They committed forward. They attacked the Dubs. They played in front. They pressurised them throughout the game. When they went in the third quarter to pressurise the Dublin kickouts fully, you know, you had that rare situation where Dublin, who usually have you in their back foot by breaking through from the defence in numbers and attacking, it was Kerry who were doing it to Dublin. And Dublin, in the end, they just fell that small bit short. I think a big problem was their full forward line, but we'll come to that in due course tonight.
Well, that actually, Tomas, is... Kerry had their game plan spot on, I think. Most people would agree with that, the way they went at it today, and that, as Joe said, the way they attacked the game, if you like.
Well, it's been an up and down league for Kerry. Sometimes they played well, other times they played very, very poorly. When Kerry play poor, Michael, they tend to go lateral.
Yeah.
They slow the ball down, they don't get it quick enough into the forwards. Today, I think, from the word go, and it was important that they lasted the 70 minutes, there was always a player coming off the shoulder, there was always support, there was always going forward. We weren't going back. Mark Griffin driving up the field here, he's well capable of it. I think they were clever on the ball as well. They made Dublin do what they don't want to do. You know, I think Dubs, when you're attacking them, they have to mark, they have to defend, they have to go back, and that's not what they're used to. You know, you didn't see the likes of Paul Flynn having a huge influence in the game today because he was defending more than he was attacking. Tyg Morley here, you normally see Philly McMahon, Johnny Cooper ending up in this. Rarely have I seen Kerry fellas ending up in scoring positions like this. He had a huge game today. He nullified Kieran Kilkenny as well as attacking. I think that it was just Mikey Gainey here at a key stage in the game. Michael attacked down the middle. You see all the Dubs are picking off men. I think maybe there is a part of it. Paul Gainey had a huge game today, but sometimes I think our shape, we had him up on his own. I think we could commit and maybe a forward more up there. When James O'Donoghue comes back, when you have 21 players coming into it, they will get better, and they have room to improvement. By no means are they the finished article. By the time July comes or August comes, they'll be a different team as well. You know,
the lesson that we're seeing, though, that whereas Dublin have had a huge advantage for 4 years because they've committed to the attack and they've pushed on and they've made you defend and they've pushed up on you. You know, Kerry joined battle with them today, and all of a sudden Dublin looked a different team at times.
Yes, of course.
Defending and attacking. I think Kerry got that balance right today. They defended well, but they attacked, and they attacked in numbers, and they put Dublin on the back foot more than they put Kerry on the back foot.
And that won't be lost on Dublin people. And Kieran, you've been looking at that in actual fact, the way that Kerry set themselves up and to press the game, I think.
Absolutely. I think it was that third quarter, and they call it moving third quarter. But I think it was key because in this period, Dublin gave away 7 frees in the scoring zone, Michael, and they lost their indiscipline. And Kerry got 5 unanswered points in this period. Now, as we know, when there's a dead play, we saw it in the All-Ireland semi-final last year, it allows Kerry reset, it allows them to push up. And you can see for that period, they went man-to-man. I don't think they've done it in the first half. I think they timed this for the right time in the game.
Yes.
You see here, Michael Fitzsimons does get the short kick out. He's looking up, he's no options. He eventually goes back to Keane O'Sullivan. You can see Kerry are touch tight. Now that is not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing to do for 70 minutes. You have to do it at a particular point in time to squeeze Dublin, to push them high up the field. No option here for Keane O'Sullivan. He's nothing. He ends up going back to Cluxton. Okay, Cluxton gives the ball out to McCarthy. Here's James McCarthy. Again, you can see pressing up, pressure. Tyke Morley gets a brilliant turnover. Kerry go up, get another free. So it was that period, 7 frees, allowed them to reset essentially and put Dublin on the back foot. Now Kerry were also very smart in that period because they fell Dublin in the middle of the park. When Dublin got any momentum coming out, they slowed it in the middle, not in the scoring zone. So Dean Rock only got two frees in that second half. So it broke Dublin's momentum on the counter-attack when they did get out. So they were smart in their play, and it was a very good second half performance.
One of the things, Joe, that impressed us about Dublin...
adventure.
Yes.
That's the key. That's what the game's about.
But the thing about it is, like, last year, you would have said maybe exactly the same things about Dublin and you know, the way that they're so good at breaking out of defence, galloping up the field and then getting back again. But today you saw flaws in that.
I think Kerry's fitness is a bit further down the line than Dublin's.
Sure,
but there is no doubt that a big problem today. Kerry's worry today pushing up would have been, look, we're leaving our full back line exposed, relatively exposed, and often it was 2v2. With Paddy Andrews and Bernard Brogan. But it was clear today that they were being dismantled by their men. Neither of them scored. And it was extraordinary to me that Jim Gavin at no stage took action. Dublin were moving the ball in. The ball was coming straight back out again. The 2 young defenders were completely on top. And it was only whenever Mannion was introduced that they were energised, because there were many opportunities in there, and it looked like a very vulnerable Kerry setup. And they were right to play courageously. They would never have won the game otherwise. But when Mannion came in, everything changed. And also when O'Gara came in, because now there was a target man. And I think that Jim Gavin will regret tonight that it took him so long to do this. Mannion scored in the space of 14 minutes. He scored a goal and 2 points and completely energised the forward line. And I mean, as the young will rise, as the old does fall, I just think it's Bernard's time. You know, his time has come and gone. He was one of the great forwards. There it is. That's life.
I think, Joe, on that, just like I know the quality of the ball coming in sometimes wasn't great.
Well, he wasn't making the runs. I was right on top of him.
I know, but
he was standing behind his man, and you could see him thinking, I can't beat him to the ball. So instead, he was hoping that things would happen around him, but that wasn't the game today. The other point being that Fitzmaurice has learned, I think, over 2 or 3 games, that the key people now is cutting off the supply. It's stopping the Fentons, it's stopping the Kilkennys, it's stopping the James McCarthy. That's where the fire is in the engine room. And if you put pressure on them out the field, the quality of the ball is what happened was, and this is the way it works. It works in tandem. If your full forwards aren't winning the ball and the ball's being kicked in, as it was in the first period, the outfielders stopped doing it.
I just want to close, lads, on another topic before we close the discussion on this particular match, and this is the officiating at the game today, only in the context that there was talk during the week about the fact that the referee wasn't experienced at this level. And I just want to quickly kind of go through aspects of the game and see what you guys thought.
He was very good. Thought he had an excellent performance. I thought he showed courage. I think he got the penalty call wrong, but he wasn't sure, so he didn't give it. His position wasn't great.
That was a black card. He got all. This was ridiculous from Diarmuid Connolly. I don't know what was going through his mind. The ball on the other side, it was foolish. It was a stupid and man down, a key man down. He missed this one. This was a black card. This was the reason he was brought in, third man tackle. And I think he had a very good game. You know, a lot of people were talking about him. He hadn't refereed at the top. This is Philly. Now, I do. The lads don't. But I have a problem with fellas. No, it isn't too bad. Paul is falling into it.
His hand.
My problem...
No, you can't attack with a closed fist. You can't tackle with a closed fist.
If you bang with a closed fist, that's a bang. I got sent off for less than that. James McCarthy's bang there.
This is probably where Dublin feel most aggrieved, because I think that's a free, Michael, in any other place on the field. If you're going down to pick up a ball and somebody comes in with a boot,
that was a penalty.
100% that's a free. And it is a penalty, and always moving away from goal. But listen, like that, you get some, you get some, you lose some.
I can respect
my only problem with that probably was that the referee was a good bit out the field. He was a good bit back. He wasn't up with the play, and it was very difficult.
Well, he's got umpires there to help him.
We've hindsight, it's slow motion, probably,
call a penalty.
In real time, very hard.
But of course, look, as we all know, there was a kick at the ball between them at the end of it, even though it was a good win for Kerry today. So this, in a way, it kind of sets up whatever happens through the championship campaign and whatever is to come. And that today was a good advertisement for football.
It was the best possible result from that perspective, because Kerry had to win it. You know, it's becoming a Dublin procession. Kerry had to win it. You imagine going back to the Kerry training now next week. Their faith is restored. They're on the right track, and they'll see that adventure that they played with today brings its rewards. And it's good for the game as well to see that the game can be played in that way.
But I agree with Kieran here. I think Fitzmaurice is clever enough. He knows that during the league and championship for the last couple of seasons, Cluxton, Fenton, Kilkenny are probably at the moment Dublin's 3 key men. And I think in the last 20 minutes they cracked Cluxton, and I don't think Fenton had a huge impact on the game, and Kilkenny was held brilliantly by Marley.
And the good news, I suppose, of the summer is Jim is fairly smart as well.
Huge, yeah.
All right, guys, thanks for that. OK, we are off to a break here on Allianz League Sunday. When we come back, another big game from Croke Park.